Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to a new video in the new year, and hopefully 2023 is when we cross that 100k subscriber mark. And if I don't do it this year, I am the biggest failure on YouTube. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. So we're going to be talking about the film photography gear that I'll be using this year for my run and gun street doc work, and in another video I'll talk about the stuff that I'll be using for the bigger, more stationary scale size projects. So there will be a part 2. Alright, so first on up is my Leica M6, and it's 2023. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of tired of saying the name of this camera. It's everywhere, it's ubiquitous, you can watch a million YouTube videos about this camera. It's a classic, it's dependable, it's beautiful, but the accessories that are on this camera right now are the things that are interesting. So the lens that I've been daily driving is the Leica 16-21 wide-angle Tri-Elmar, and it is a mouthful of a name, but I will tell you that this lens is probably one of the most unique ones out there. So this is essentially a zoom lens because you could go between 16 to 21 millimeters, but there are designated focal lengths on this lens. You can shoot in between the designated focal lengths, but of course you can't really tell what the frame lines are because the rangefinder is not updating to those selections. So for this particular Tri-Elmar lens, you do have to get external viewfinders for each of them. I have the 15mm and the 21mm. 15mm is pretty much the same as 16, but just like maybe 1% wider, but I think it's completely fine. I have a Zeiss 15mm viewfinder and a Voigtlander 21mm, and they both work fine. The Zeiss one is kind of expensive for what it is. It's really clear, it's bright, it's awesome, but damn is it expensive. This lens also has a constant f4 aperture, which is plenty, especially if you're a street photographer who is zone focusing, and I don't know too many in that genre who are zone focusing shallower than f4. Yeah, there is a different Tri-Elmar lens as well. There's a 28, 35, 50 one. I think that one is a little bit more practical because those focal lengths are more universal. 16mm is extremely wide, but my style currently, especially for this year, is kind of trending towards getting wider and wider because that's just what I'm into right now. A little bit more of a dramatic focal length, some distortion to be used to my advantage for storytelling. This style will actually explain another camera that I'll be mentioning in the lineup as well. And yeah, as you can imagine, this lens does get a little bit too wide sometimes. So when that does happen, I still have my 28mm Elmarit that I rock on my other M6, as pretentious as that sounds. And 28 is actually the longest focal length that I use nowadays. 35, I used to be a huge 35 guy, and I hardly use the 35 Summicron that I have anymore. And I invested so much money into that lens because that was my favorite focal length at one point, but now there probably will be a time and place to use that lens for my work, but I need to find a time and place for it. So going with the theme of the trend that my photography style is going in, the next camera I'll be talking about is the Panon Widelux F7. I did a video about this camera. You could click right here for that. And I think this camera is extremely wonderful for what it is. I just hung out with some other YouTubers, and Grainy Days, Jason, said that the Widelux is kind of like the GoPro of the film photography world, and I kind of do agree with that because it captures such a distorted, wide look, but that is kind of what I need right now. And I've been kind of going back and forth with the Widelux and the X-Pan because they offer the same aspect ratio, the same amount of exposures, which is 20, but obviously they offer different looks. The X-Pan is a very rectilinear look, it looks very theatrical, and the Widelux is very dramatic, distorted, every line bows and bends. But I kind of think the Widelux is better. Okay, so here's how I see the practicality of the Widelux coming in. So say for example, I'm in a scene and I'm shooting like some mediums, some close-ups, some contextual photos, and then there's a huge scene that breaks out. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of things, and I need to get it quick. Well, the Leica can definitely do that, but I can just pull out the Widelux and take one sweeping photo, literally, of the entire environment, and now I have one photo that demands your attention in such a distorted, dramatic fashion, and to me, that's the most beautiful thing. The X-Pan can absolutely get the job done, but the standard 45mm lens with its expanded aspect ratio, I believe the equivalence is around 21mm, and that is very wide for most of us, but for me, I need wider than that. And if I wanted to get that out of the X-Pan, I would have to shell out another $5,000 for the 30mm lens with the external viewfinder, and to me it's just not worth it. In the next video that I have for you guys, I will be using both of these cameras simultaneously, and you'll know what I mean when I photograph the Chinese New Year parade over in New York and San Francisco, and hopefully everything goes well. And before I get to the last camera of my to-go kit for 2023, I need to tell you about the bag that I'll be using to carry all of this stuff. This camera sling bag is literally perfect for everything that I need. I used to rock the Peak Design 5-liter sling, and for most cases it was pretty good, but it was kind of too small and the style of it was not really my favorite. But this Clever Supply 6-liter sling is perfect for function and style. The 6-liter capacity is perfect, and there's 2 little removable dividers that make storage a little bit easier. I can fit the Leica on one side, the Widelux on the other, and smack dab in the middle I can fit my flash cable, and a case of film. On the flap, there's an interior pocket where I can fit my AirPods, chapstick, the viewfinders, and so much more. And there's also a sleeve that you could fit a little tablet inside, and basically it's kind of like a backpack, but it's sling form, so it's awesome. This bag does come in 2 colors in wax canvas, which entails some weatherproofing. The zippers are rainproof, and high quality zippers are attached to them. I got it in black because I wanted something a little bit more incognito, something that doesn't really attract too much attention when I'm outside. But what I think is the most underrated and probably the best feature about this bag is how short it cinches up, because it kind of acts like an armrest. And I know that kind of sounds dumb, but when you're handhold filming just like this acts like a little cine saddle to stabilize everything out. Or when you're walking around with your camera, you could just rest your arm like this. You don't have to hold up your arm all the time, but you can have it ready to go and your bag is supporting your arm. Just makes life a little bit easier. I can honestly talk about this bag a lot more, and yes, this is made by Clever Supply, a proud supporter of this channel. They are actually running a Kickstarter for that bag right now, link in the description, and you can get it for 20% off if you pre-order right now. The Kickstarter will be ongoing for a little bit, but I kid you not, this sling bag is so good. And when I'm not rocking that sling bag, I'm rocking my Ona Leather Camera Backpack. I got it used on Black Friday, and I really like that patina look because it's just so nice looking. It's a good everyday bag. I can fit any work that I want in there, from my laptop to my cameras and all that stuff. But most importantly, I did need a bag that didn't look like a camera bag. The Peak Design everyday bags just screams that you're carrying tech in there. And you know, with some of the situation that's happening around the San Francisco Bay Area, I don't want to be a walking target. So that bag is nice and incognito, but you kind of know that it's a camera bag now, so. And to close out with the last camera that I'll be using in this to-go kit is my Hasselblad 501 CM, and I'll be primarily using this camera for portraits of people who I find very interesting that I want to stop and have a conversation with. Don't get me wrong, I still love my Mamiya RZ67, which is still in my kit. That'll be in another video, but you know, the RZ is a little bit too big to throw into either of these bags. So the Hasselblad wins for travel, for convenience, and for the quality of photos that I can take. I feel like I don't need to say too much about this camera because it's so legendary. You can watch a bunch of YouTube videos about it, but I do have the 80mm lens and the 50 that I'll be rocking on the daily. I do have a 40 that I did intend to use for studio portraits, but hardly find myself in the studio, so I will probably be getting rid of that lens. And I think that's the end of my to-go kit. I hopefully didn't forget about anything. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and take me over that 100K sub line. I want to accomplish that very soon because I have something special for all of you when that does. But until that time comes, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.